What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager Season 1, Episode 23. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and help me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Today we've got about a 13-minute episode. We're going to be picking up where we left off for the lower hull. Today we are working on our backbone, and we're going to be putting in our final template for the backbone. Now you can see I've added in a couple of rows here, but don't worry, I'm going to go through these row to row to show you guys what to do. Basically what I did is that off camera I went in and I trial and errored the process just so that I wouldn't blow up the tutorial series. I know I talked about that in my last episode. I always like to show that stuff, but one of the things too is that if I'm not sure what I'm going to do at all, I don't want to have that included in the tutorial. This way we're just not spinning our tires. I want some type of a clear idea of what I'm doing. Now if I make changes to it, I make changes to it. So that's why if you see me doing something like this, that's why. But like I said, don't worry. I'm going to show you guys the starting point and what we'll do, and then how we'll be developing out the rest of this. So without stretching out this episode any longer, let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So you can see we've got our starting point off of our two half slabs that will go into the shelving for our bridge section. There's one block in between, and then this is our starting point. I've used half slabs to go down with my transition point, and we're going to count this out. So counting this first row, this is going to be a row of 4. But with the half slabs, technically it's only 3. So go 1, 2, 3, go down with a cut, 3, 3, another row of 3, and I'm not counting out how many rows that we're doing here, so you want to count that out. I mean, I guess we can go back and do it when we zoom out, but as we get lower down to the belly, or excuse me, as we get lower down to the ceiling, we're going to switch it up. So we can count that out now that we're zoomed out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hopefully that makes sense. Doing 14 rows of 3 with half slabs going down with our cut line. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want to zoom back a little bit because I don't count it out. These 3 rows right here, I believe this is rows of 6. So now let's go back. Actually, I went too far forward. I'm sorry. Let's go right here. Okay. So now we're in good shape. So we're going to continue on this pattern. We're doing a row of 6 with the cut line. See, this is where I'm saying it's going to come into play that we're going to have to make an adjustment to the blending that we did with the ceiling. So now that's going to give us an idea of where we're going to be at. So you can see I'm adjusting the template now. We're going 5. Because what's happened here is that if you look at the very back, it's a little bit too high. So we need to get it to transition down a little bit lower before we get to the tail end of the ship. So that's why we're changing our pattern from 6 to 5, because I'm hoping that by the time we get to the back, it'll be right where it needs to be. I think that's why I didn't count it out in the beginning, because I come back and I adjusted it from 6 to 5. I'm usually really good about that. I'm surprised I didn't actually count that out. Like I said, I'm not perfect with doing these tutorials. I'm trying my hardest for you guys to give you the best quality content that I can. But with that being said, I'm still not super experienced with doing these tutorials. I'm still getting better at it. I've only, even though I've done a bunch of episodes, I've only actually, when you count the builds that I've done tutorials for, we've got the Disco Era Enterprise, the Cerritos, the Enterprise D, and then now we're on Voyager, and then I had the 2 mock tutorials that we did. And I had a couple of starter guides, but there's not that many tutorials that I've actually done so far. So that's what I'm saying, like, I'm still trying to get this process down. Every tutorial that I do is a learning process for me. So if I do make a mistake, hang with me. I promise you guys, like, I'm doing everything I can to get better. Now, with that being said, if you see something that you think I can do better, let me know in the comments section. As long as you're not a jerk about it, and you're trying to give me good constructive criticism, believe it or not, I will listen. Because this isn't something that's always so cut and dry. I think this is one of the reasons why you just don't see people doing tutorials like that, like this for these ships, because it's not easy to do. Alright, so now what we're going to be doing here is, I'm happy enough with the template that we have with going, after we went with a row of 3 when we switched to 6, we've adjusted that to 5. That's going to work. So now what we have to do is we have to go back and we're going to have to make adjustments here to our cut lines. Alright, so now we're just working on getting rid of some of this access. The reason I'm showing this in the tutorial, usually I would skip past a lot of this, but I'm trying to show you guys specifically what I'm deleting. This way you guys can stay right here with me. Yeah, see, because this new backbone that we have, this is going to work out fairly well. This is the template for what we're ultimately, that we'll be using. We just have to get rid of some of this access that we're going to have now with our new backbone in place. So alright, now that I've gone in, so I want to show you guys the outline basically that we've cut out. And we're going to delete everything in between. So you should have something that looks like this. We went straight across because that's our cut line, and we deleted all of this going with the cut. So this whole area here, this way we can go back and we can reblend. Now the upper rows, we're going to have to redo sections of that as well. Don't worry about that. I'll show you guys how to fill that in. There's a couple more rows here I want to knock out. Alright, now we're looking pretty good. So now the sides here, this isn't going to be too difficult, because now we're just literally repeating the same process that we were doing before, just a slightly different template, going with a cut line with a row of 5. But don't go too heavy into this. Do what I do, because what we're eventually going to be doing here, we'll be going to the back and then working our way upward. Because the problem with this, and you guys might be seeing it too, is that the backbone looks good, the outline, but this template that I'm trying to add right now, it's not matching my photo reference. So we're going to have to make some changes to that. And that row right there, I should actually be going in one. There we go. Caught the mistake. Now we're going to fix it. Alright, that's looking pretty good. But it's not where we need to be. We're close, we're just not quite there yet. See, that shelf right there is actually where I started getting the idea. It's like, okay, I'm actually going to need to build shelving one block underneath my half slab, and we're going to have to start that from the bottom and work our way upward. Let's get a couple more of these rows done so that we can figure out what else we need to do here. And see, I don't like that because now it's covering up the gray half slab in the middle. So to fix that, we'll have to use the half slab quartz. Yeah, see, and this is why I say trying different things out. This is how you can stumble upon where you need to end up at. I cannot stress enough how vital trying out new things is, because doing this trial and error process right now, this, believe it or not, it's vital to what we're doing, because this is, doesn't feel like it, but this is going to ultimately help us land where we need to land. It just doesn't feel like it right now because we're making a couple of changes here and there to try to make it all work together. But the shelving that's starting to develop in the very middle, see, like these two rows, if you take out this gray line, the shelving here, that's what's working. And what we need is to have that same thing transition as we go row to row to row, and then blend all of that in. Alright, we're going to close this in. Looking pretty good. And we're just continuing on row to row with our pattern here. Now you might be wondering, Zero, if we're going to be making changes to this, why are you having me go through these steps to add this in if we're going to be editing it? And the reason why we're doing this is so that this way when I come back and I make changes, you guys are exactly where I am. And trust me, I know how it feels. You may not want to go in and delete some of this stuff, but this is necessary because it's ultimately going to help us to land where we need to land to make this build work. That's just the way it's going to be when you're making ships from scratch. There's a trial and error process. There's no way to avoid it, at least for me. I have to go through this because making these or going through the trial and error process shows me the changes that I need to make. But this specific area is vital because what I'm doing right now may not seem like it, but when we start to work in the actual shelving, hopefully you guys will see the similarities with where we ultimately land and what we have right here. Because this isn't very far off from it. It's close. It's just not quite there yet. The shelving that I'm talking about, it's not as wide as it needs to be. And like I was saying, like you can kind of see it, but it's stretching out now as we go down. And it needs to be even going all the way up. But like I said, this pattern is going to inspire us to get where we need to get. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up right there. And when we come back in the next episode, I'll show you guys how to do that shelving the correct way. And we'll really be able to start rocking and rolling on this thing. If you guys have any questions regarding today's episode, drop a comment below. Definitely love hearing from everybody, or any build suggestions you want to see. If you can help me out, hit that like and subscribe button. the likes, the comments, all that stuff. It helps my analytics, helps the channel grow. We've got some cool stuff coming up on the channel in the future. We've got Voyager Season 2, which is going to get into the interior as well as last minute exterior details. Excelsior 2 class is going to be coming up. Enterprise D Season 2, as well as Enterprise A 2.0 once we hit 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week. And what did you make in Minecraft today? Let me know in the comments section and post your photos on Discord.